Today I'd like to have a quick conversation around the shoulders, in particular, how our shoulders are functioning in the transition from plank to lowering all the way down to the mat. Now, before we investigate that specific transition, I think it is important to understand where a lot of us are starting. We're starting with whatever our shoulders are used to doing in our daily patterns. We build these and they become a habit that often follows us to the mat. Now, if you think about your daily life, almost all of it exists in front of you. Therefore, we are patterning things like this into our shoulders. A keyboard, a steering wheel, a baby, the dishes, all of it is happening out in front of us. This can produce the tendency to have a pattern in our shoulders where they round forward, they close in, and they also drop down. This is important to understand because when it comes to the transition of coming from plank to the ground, if this is the pattern that our shoulders is the most familiar with, that is probably what it's going to repeat when we take that transition. Now, if we're doing that over and over, especially in the repetition that might occur in a vinyasa practice, what we could say is, in a very surface level way, we're putting a lot of the load, a lot of the effort and weight into this front region of our shoulders, which doesn't have a whole lot of support for that much demand. What we're going to look at is what it looks like when a transition is done with that sort of mechanics. And then a couple of just quick key refinements you might be able to begin doing right now that will already change the way that you're lowering from plank to more optimally support the shoulders, which is going to come from recruitment of the upper back. Let's first look at what I so commonly see in people's practices. If we take what we know to be a common patterned position of the shoulders from our daily life onto the mat. It can begin first in plank before the transition even occurs. That the head will be lowered and the shoulders will be forward, down, and in. From this position, what commonly happens when lowering to the mat is we end up here. Note the angle between my shoulders and my elbows. You might also see that if I came up from the ground in the position I landed in, this is how I would be. When we're upright, I'm pretty sure we all know that's not how we want to be. Now, just to see from another angle, if I begin head low, shoulders forward and down, as I lower, this is how it looks from the front. Again, not a position that I think any of us want to be in. Here's a couple quick refinements that you can try that might really make a radical difference in this transition. When setting up plank, think about your upright position. Bring your head in line with your spine. Create some external rotation, spinning your biceps forward. The external rotation's happening in the arm bones. And to begin, just a little bit of moderate protraction to keep the shoulder blades on the back body. Now, the last piece is that as I lower, I'm going to have the idea that I'm pulling my hands back towards my hips. Head stays in line with the rest of my spine. Now, with these mechanics and the thought of pulling my hands towards my hips as I lower, when I come down, note now the position of my shoulders, the relationship of my shoulders to my elbows. And that if I lift it up, maintaining that position, I'm here. A very happy place to be. One more time from the front. A little bit of external rotation. Slight amount of protraction. I bring my head in line with my spine. And as I lower, I am thinking about pulling my hands back towards my hips so that when I land at the bottom, this is where my shoulders are. This is actually a great transition to watch yourself do either in a mirror or to film yourself and then go back and view it. Check it out from the side profile, check it out from the front view. You might be surprised that your shoulders are doing things you didn't even have an awareness of. I believe that we all have a desire to practice for a very long time. Little refinements and new awareness like this can potentially set you up in a way that you're able to create more sustainability in your practice, that you're supporting your joints and the load that you're placing in them. And through that sustainability, you develop longevity, that you can do this practice that you love for a very long time. So try it out. We'd love to hear from you. Leave us any questions you have in the comments, or let us know what you discover when you check out this transition in your own body. Here's to happy shoulders.